Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the nuts and bolts, pulling out the engineering blueprints for a car that, well, it arguably defined its whole category.
We are talking about the Mercedes-Benz W124.
Exactly. The car that really set the benchmark for executive cars for, gosh, a whole generation. It's definitely the ancestor, the forefather, you could say, of the E-Class we know now.
Yeah, and our mission today is to figure out why. Why does this particular car, built from, 1984 right through to 97, have this almost legendary status?
It's that peak over-engineering era, isn't it?
It really is. And you have to remember, this wasn't just, a single sedan model. It was a whole platform.
Right.
You had the standard saloon, the W124, then the Estate, the S124 wagon, the C124 coupe,
The A124 Cabriolet, which came a bit later.
and even that stretched six-door limousine, the V124, an entire range.
The scale is just huge when you think about it like that, across all those versions.
Yeah.
What was the total production number again?
Over 2.7 million cars. It's staggering.
All built on that core design DNA laid down by Bruno Sacco.
Yeah.
It really captures that specific moment, doesn't it? Mercedes blending cutting-edge aerodynamics with just incredibly solid, almost obsessive engineering.
It does. Let's dig into that engineering foundation first, because the planning, it started way back 1976.
76, wow.
Yeah, and the final design wasn't approved until 1981. That long development time, well, it let them achieve things that most competitors just couldn't touch back then.
And the funny thing is, it looks quite traditional, sort of boxy maybe to modernize, but it was actually incredibly slippery through the air.
Exactly right. Aerodynamically, the W124 was seriously advanced for the mid-80s. Those base models, the 200 and the 200D diesel,
Yeah.
they hit a coefficient of drag of just 0.28.
0.28, that's remarkable. How do they manage that? It wasn't just the body shape, was it?
No, not entirely. They did something pretty clever, something most people would never even see. They added plastic molding.
Molding.
Yeah, across the entire undercarriage of the car.
The whole underside, just to smooth out the airflow.
Precisely. It tells you so much about their priorities back then, that kind of hidden detail.
What does that obsession signal to you? Beyond just fuel economy, I guess.
Well, fuel economy was part of it, sure, but it was more about the overall quality. Streamlining the airflow underneath cuts drag, yes, but it also makes a huge difference in reducing wind noise inside the cabin.
Ah, right. So it speaks to comfort, luxury, longevity, not just raw numbers.
Exactly. Engineering for the long haul, for a premium experience.
And it wasn't just the body. The suspension was pretty groundbreaking too, wasn't it? Setting a standard for handling.
Oh, definitely. The rear suspension was a major innovation. It featured that multi-link axle design.
Which they'd first used on the smaller W201, the baby bins.
That's the one. And the key thing here is that this design, which separates the forces acting on the wheel. Well, it's essentially the standard now on many, many modern cars, especially premium ones. The W124 really helped bring that technology into the mainstream.
And some models had that fancy self-leveling suspension too. The Estates.
Yes, the hydropneumatic self-leveling system.
Yeah.
Standard on the Estates, the S124, to handle heavy loads. But you could actually option it on the sedans and coupes too. Very clever, very Citroën-like in principle.
Okay, beyond the serious engineering, let's talk about some of the quirks, the little features that make people really remember this car.
Yes. The single windscreen wiper is a classic example.
The eccentric wiper.
That's it. It looks like just one big wiper, but the mechanism behind it was complex. It swept in this pattern that extended its reach right into the top corners of the windscreen.
Giving you a much bigger cleared area than a normal single wiper could manage. Just ingenious, really, for something so mundane.
And then there's the solution for rear visibility in the sedans and coupes. I always like this one.
Oh, the headrests.
The remote folding rear headrests.
Right.
Brilliant. If
Yeah.
you didn't have passengers back there, flick a switch on the dash.
And thunk. They just drop down instantly. Clear view at the back window.
Simple, elegant, and really effective.
And the Estate, the T-model wagon, had its own party trick for the back door, didn't it?
It did indeed. You didn't have to slam that tailgate shut.
Right, it had that soft close feature.
A sensor-controlled servo motor, actually. When you gently closed the hatch, the motor would engage and silently pull it fully shut.
Why though? Just for quietness.
Partly, but also for a tighter seal. It helped minimize the rattles and drafts that often plagued big station wagon tailgates back then. Guaranteed a solid, quiet fit every single time. Pure W124 attention to detail.
No, you can't finish this section without mentioning the wheels. The famous 15-hole alloys.
Ah, the Gullydeckel.
which means
Manhole covers in German. Because, well, they look a bit like them.
they really do. Flat-faced, functional.
It's a wonderfully practical design, though. Super strong, very easy to keep clean. And again, it just embodies that W124 philosophy. Engineering excellence, right down to the wheel design and a quiet tailgate motor.
Okay, so if the body and chassis were that meticulously engineered blueprint, the engines were constantly evolving. Let's talk drivetrains, because that's a whole story in itself.
Absolutely. When it launched in '85, the initial engine range was based on their modular single overhead cam designs.
The OHC engines, so the M102 four-cylinder, the M103 inline six.
And the OM 601, 602, 603 diesels, solid, dependable units. But the modular design was key.
Why modular? What did that allow?
It allowed them to adapt quickly, to
Yeah.
react to specific market needs, like take the 200E for the Italian market.
Oh, yes. That was purely a tax thing, wasn't it?
Pretty much. Italy had this heavy tax penalty on cars with engines over 2,000 cc, over 2 liters. So Mercedes specifically developed a fuel and injected version of the 2.0-liter engine, the 200E, just to slide under that tax threshold.
Making a bespoke engine variant just for one country's tax laws, that's a level of market tailoring you don't see much anymore.
It really speaks to how focused they were. And then just a couple of years later, 1987, they introduced a major technical development, 4MATIC.
Their answer to Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
How did 4MATIC work back then?
It was quite sophisticated for its time. It wasn't permanent all-wheel drive. Under normal driving, it was mostly rear-wheel drive to maintain that Mercedes feel.
Okay.
But it used sensors to detect wheel slip. If it sensed a loss of traction, it would automatically engage first center differential to send power forwards, and then the rear differential lock if needed. It reacted dynamically.
Interesting. Now, before the W124 really settled in, there was actually quite a bit of turbulence, especially in the North American market. It even led to a major change in U.S. import laws, didn't it?
Oh, hugely important context, the gray market situation.
Yeah.
In the mid-'80s, the U.S. was absolutely flooded with privately imported European cars, especially Mercedes, that weren't officially certified for the U.S.
People just bring them over themselves.
Individuals, third-party dealers.
Yeah, sure.
Mercedes estimated that by '85, something like 1 out of every 3 Mercedes being driven in the U.S. was a gray import. They weren't happy.
So they lobbied hard.
Very successfully. They pushed Congress, and the result was the Imported Vehicle Safety Compliance Act.
Which is the basis for the famous 25-year import rule that car enthusiasts know so well today.
Exactly. The popularity of cars like the W124, ironically, led Mercedes-Benz to essentially shut down that private import channel for any car less than 25 years old, unless it went through rigorous, expensive federalization. It completely reshaped how Americans get access to non-US market cars.
Wow. And at the same time, they were having some engine issues stateside too, specifically with the diesels in California.
Yes, that was another headache. The early diesel particulate filters mandated by the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, just weren't reliable enough back then.
So they had problems.
Big problems. So much so that Mercedes actually pulled all their diesel engines from the North American market completely in 1988. They had to go back, re-engineer things, and only reintroduce cleaner, turbocharged diesels in 1990.
Speaking of engine re-engineering, the really big shift for the petrol engines came with the move to DOHC, right?
Yeah.
Double overhead camshafts.
Yes, that was a fundamental upgrade. It started with the new M104 inline-6 engine in 1989.
Which powered models like the 300E24.
Exactly. And then that DOHC technology rolled out across the rest of the mid-range petrol engines by 1992. They also moved to more advanced Bosch LH Detronic fuel injection, but the real manufacturing genius wasn't just the DOHC head itself.
What was it then?
It was the standardization behind it, specifically the cylinder bore size.
They used the same bore diameter for multiple engines.
For all the 4- and 6-cylinder petrol engines introduced in that DOHC wave, they standardized on an 89.9 millimeter bore.
What's the benefit of that?
Massive manufacturing efficiency. Think about it. They could use essentially just 2 basic engine block castings, one 4-cylinder, one 6-cylinder. Then they could create different engine displacements simply by changing the crankshaft and connecting rods to vary the stroke length.
So same with different height inside the cylinder. Clever.
Incredibly clever. Maximum modularity, streamlined production, fewer unique parts, all without sacrificing the performance gains of the DOHC design. That combination of efficiency and quality is pure W124.
Absolutely. That constant evolution, the refinement, It naturally leads us to the point where the W124 stopped being just an internal code and became, well, a class. Let's talk facelifts and that big rebranding.
Right. The W124 actually had two main visual updates. The first one was in 1989.
That's when the side cladding appeared, Sacco planks.
Exactly. Those plastic lower body panels, often with chrome strips. They also got chrome door handles, body-colored mirror housings. It kind of softened the lines a bit. And this is also when those first 24-valve DOHC engines arrived, like in the 300 CE24 coupe.
But the really major change, the one that signaled the birth of the E-Class as we know it, was the second facelift in '93.
Yes, that was a much more significant redesign visually. The whole front end was altered to look more like the then-new W140 S-Class flagship.
The grille integrated into the bonnet.
That's the key visual cue. The radiator grille became part of the hood panel itself, giving it that smoother, more modern family look that Mercedes wanted across its lineup.
And this visual alignment came along with the official name change, didn't it?
It did. Also in 1993, Mercedes made the corporate decision to simplify its naming strategy for marketing. No more relying just on the chassis codes like W124.
So the standard class, as it was sometimes called, got its formal name.
It was officially rebranded as the E-Class. The E standing for executive, supposedly, though some link it back to Einspritzung for fuel injection from earlier models.
And the naming convention flipped too, right?
Yes. The class letter E now came before the engine displacement numbers. So, for example, a 250TD turbo model
Became the E250 turbo diesel.
Exactly. Clear branding, clear market positioning, the E-Class was born.
E for executive.
Yeah.
Really cements its place. Okay, we absolutely have to talk about the high-performance end of the spectrum now, the V8s, and the rather unexpected partnership that built them.
Yes. This is where the story gets really exciting for enthusiasts. In 1991, Mercedes decided to shoehorn their big 5.0-liter 32-valve V8 engine, the M119, into the W124 sedan chassis.
Creating the legendary 500E. That must have required some serious engineering gymnastics.
It absolutely did, widening the track, modifying the engine bay, strengthening the chassis. It wasn't a simple drop-in job.
And that's where the unexpected partner comes in.
Precisely. The crucial detail about the 500E is that Mercedes didn't actually build it themselves. Not entirely. It was engineered for performance by Mercedes, but assembled by Porsche.
Porsche built the 500E. In their own factory.
In Zuffenhausen, yes. Porsche was going through a bit of a rough patch financially at the time, and they had spare capacity. Mercedes effectively contracted them to handle the complex final assembly, the chassis modifications needed for that big V8, and the widened bodywork. Cars were shipped back and forth between the Mercedes and Porsche plants.
That's amazing. Outsourcing your Halo performance sedan assembly to your sports car neighbor. It says a lot about the challenge of building that car and maybe the pressure to create a true Autobahn king.
It does, and it wasn't just the 500E. Porsche also handled the chassis construction and modifications for the slightly more restrained V8 model, the 400E.
Which later became the E420 after the facelift.
Correct. Still a Moten machine, just without the flared arches and aggressive stance of the 500E.
So Porsche helped birth the V8 W124s.
Yeah.
But then there was AMG, of course. Once they came into the official Mercedes fold, things got even wilder.
They did. Before the official partnership solidified, you had AMG doing conversions like the 300E 24 3.4 AMG, punching out the standard 3.0-liter 24-valve 6.
By tuner specials.
But after the 1993 facelift and rebranding, AMG became the official in-house performance arm. They offered the E36 AMG.
Based on the inline 6.
Yes, a bored and stroked 3.6-liter version of the M104 inline 6. You could get it in the Estate, the Coupe, and the Cabriolet. Pretty quick, 0 to 100 kilometers, about 7.2 seconds.
But the ultimate W124 performance statement remained the sedan, didn't it?
Oh yes, the absolute top dog was the E60 AMG sedan.
60, as in 6.0 liters.
6 liters.
Yeah.
They took the M119 V8 from the 500e 500 and bored it out even further. It produced 381 horsepower.
Good grief.
This beast was, for a time, the most powerful sedan Mercedes-Benz offered, period. It actually had more horsepower than the company's flagship, the massive S600 with its V12 engine. The E60 was the ultimate Q-ship.
When you pile up all that engineering, the different variants, the performance models, the one constant theme that always comes up with the W124 is reliability. That's its enduring legacy, isn't it?
It really is. It earned this almost mythical reputation for sheer durability. All that obsessive engineering we talked about, it directly translated into cars that just kept going and going well for years and years.
Is there data to back that up, beyond just anecdotes?
Oh yes. There's a well-known survey by the German Automobile Association, the ADC, published in 1995. They track breakdown statistics.
And how did the W124 fare?
Exceptionally well. The diesel versions, in particular, absolutely topped their category for reliability.
The numbers were something like
11.8 breakdowns per 1,000 registered cars for 4-year-old models.
That sounds low. How did it compare?
It was staggeringly low. It beat its main rival from Audi by almost 3 percentage points in that survey. It just cemented the W124's reputation as a car that simply wouldn't let you down.
And that kind of inherent toughness made it ideal for heavy-duty use too, right? Not just private owners.
Absolutely. The basic chassis was so robust and versatile that it was widely adapted for commercial applications. We mentioned the long wheelbase V124 limousines, often used as taxis or hotel cars.
But also more specialized stuff.
Yes, things like high-roof ambulances, hearses, often built on specialized chassis variants like the F124 and VF124, frequently co-designed and constructed with expert coach-building companies like Benz. The platform could handle it.
So this incredible run eventually had to end, obviously. How did the production wind down? Was it all at once? No, it was staggered. The main sedan production in Germany finished up in 1995, making way for its successor, the W210.
Okay.
But the estates, the S124 wagons, were still incredibly popular, so their production continued into early 1996.
And the convertibles lasted the longest.
The A124 cabriolets were the final holdouts. They kept building those right up until July 1997. A pretty long lifespan for the core platform.
Did they do anything special to mark the end? A final edition?
They did, in some markets anyway. There was a limited Masterpiece edition released towards the very end, mostly in 1995 for the sedans.
Masterpiece, what made it special?
It bundled a lot of desirable options, plus some unique touches. Things like special alloy wheels, often a walnut wood steering wheel was available, stainless steel door, silt plates, and a gear shift knob that was actually engraved with the word Masterpiece. A nice little sign-off.
Masterpiece. It kind of fits, doesn't it? The W124 really does feel like a singular achievement in automotive history, just defined by that engineering depth, the sheer versatility across all those body styles and engines, and above all, that legendary quality.
It truly set a benchmark, an incredibly high one, maybe even an unreachable one in some ways, for build quality and long-term durability. And thinking about that legacy, connecting it forward, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
Well, think about this. If Mercedes poured so much into making the W124 this bastion of robustness and longevity, what fundamental compromises, maybe in engineering philosophy or material choices or even just cost-cutting, had to be made when they designed its direct successor, the W210 E-Class, to meet the changing pressures and demands of the market in the mid-1990s? What had to give?